Okay, want to call to order the Finance Committee meeting for December the 3rd, 2018. Before we address the items on the agenda, we have our special recognition of our Employee of the Month. At this time, will be presented by our Honorable Mayor Bob Coburn.
If staff and council will join me down front, make a presentation. Kathy, if you would join us as well.
Better than the other one, yes. It was a break.
Are we on? We're on. December 2018, City Employee of the Month, Kathy Coburn. Kathy has lived in Muskogee for almost 40 years and began working for the City of Muskogee part-time employee in 2013. In mid-2014, her position turned full-time. She assumed the position of Pavilion's operations manager. Prior to working for the city, Kathy obtained her bachelor's degree in nursing at the University of Tennessee and worked as a nurse for almost 30 years. Kathy said gardening has always been a hobby of hers, and when the position at the Pavilion came open, she knew that is where she wanted to flourish after her successful nursing career. Kathy is married to Jerry Coburn, who is my cousin, by the way, a local optometrist. She has two sons, Zach and Alex. Zach is a colorectal surgeon at St. John's in Tulsa, and he is married to Jennifer, and together they have three children, Cal, Max, and Penelope. Alex, her youngest, is a second-year optometry student at NSU and has a very serious girlfriend who Kathy says they hope to be welcoming into their family soon. Kathy has been an active member at Grace Episcopal Church, is a member of their choir and volunteers, and teaches Sunday school there. Congratulations. And I know that's the love of your heart. Would you like to make a comment? You're welcome to, but you don't have to.
Well, since my husband is sitting there, I will tell him thank you. I appreciate his patience with me with all the time I spend out at the park. So it's a sacrifice for him sometimes too. So
Good.
that's all. So
Thank you. We appreciate it. Congratulations.
Agenda item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Finance Committee minutes of November 19th, 2018.
Reviewing the minutes, are there any corrections or additions?
Move the approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Cale,
Yes.
Marlon Coleman,
Yes.
Wayne Johnson,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Derek Reed,
Yes.
Dan Hall,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 1 passed. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments November 15th, 2018 through November 28th, 2018.
Do we have a report from the purchasing committee?
Yes, the purchasing committee did meet this evening, and we did review the claims. I do appreciate the staff going over those claims with us, and I would make a recommendation for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the claims list. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Cale,
Yes.
Marlon Coleman,
Yes.
Wayne Johnson,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Derek Reed,
Yes.
Dan Hall,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 2 passed, and with that passed, and that is the final item for our Finance Committee meeting.
Now call to order a Public Works Committee meeting for this December the 3rd to order. Item number 1.
Consider approval of Public Works Committee minutes of November 19th, 2018.
Are there any questions on this one?
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 1 passes. Item number 2.
Discuss wrecker and towing service options for the city of Muskogee, provide direction to staff, or take other necessary action.
On this item, I do want to let the committee know that we do have 2 people signed up to speak to this item. Now I'll turn it over to Councilor Kale.
Yes, I'd like staff to take a look at, as with all of our contracted services and people that do things for the city and with the city, take a look at this item and see if we can't do things better or do the best we can do with working with vendors and whatnot that do things on behalf of the city.
Are there any other discussion on this item before we hear from the 2 that had signed up from the public?
Should there be a group of council or committee members that would be a part of the discussion, or are you just asking for staff to look into that and make us
What
recommendations?
What I see happening is the staff working on various alternatives, and then communication lunches to go over what staff has provided and to share council member input.
Okay.
Any other comments before we hear from the ones that had signed up from the public? I really think one of the best ways to handle this is a communication lunch because one of the ways that, I mean, we've dealt with this in the past before, and there's a number of different options from pay-to-play to single source to a number of different ways, and we know how it was before, and I think we all have different viewpoints, but I think it's keeping it open where we can look at different viewpoints. But I do believe the best way that we can have an open discussion, and one of the things that I'd ask for is if the city manager would allow this to be put on some of our communication luncheons so we can discuss it in small groups, and that's what me and Patrick had also discussed, where we could not move quickly on this, but have some open forums to discuss it before it was brought back.
Yeah, because in the past, we've, like Councilman Johnson saying, we've paid to play. We talked about pay to play, where every record company in Muskogee, city limits or whatever, or whoever is on the rotations would pay us for when we ask for them to come for rotation when it's dealing with the police department or the city. And then then it got put on for it to be a one vendor, and I've never liked that idea very much. And then something happened there, and then it never happened. And just got to be careful that when we're doing this, that we're not trying to cause a monopoly, that one person gets to have a monopoly on the wrecker service. That's what my biggest fear was in the beginning. That's what it is again today. I would very much so like to have those lunches, but I would like for that to look in a way that it's not a monopoly for one vendor to have over our wrecking service for Muskogee. That's kind of where I'm at with that. So I just kind of thought I'd throw that out there before we went any further.
Any other discussion before we hear from public to be heard on this item? Thank you very much. First one that had signed up to speak is Steve Goad. Steve, on this item number, if you would give your name and address, you have 5 minutes to speak to this item number.
Thank you. My name is Steve Goad. I live at 540 West Terrace Road. I'm the owner-operator of A+ Towing and Recovery. So here we are again. We've been through this already more than once. I came in here the first time and just about got on my hands and knees and begged you to leave it alone. And you listened to me, I think, and you decided to leave it alone. Well, the second time it got brought up again, you didn't listen to me. I begged you, and you did. You put it up for bids. 3 record companies bidded this contract: Morgan, Mays, and A+. I won the bid. I was never told or had anything from anyone stating why I didn't get that contract. There's several of you here on the board that looked me in the eyes and told me I should have got that contract because I won it fair and square. Can anyone tell me why I didn't get it? No, nobody can. I think you need to leave it like it is. I think what Mr. Johnson and Mr. Hall said about each record company divvying up so much money per tow is a good idea. I don't think that one record company in this town is right, because you're going to put a lot of people out of work. And every one of you, when you ran for your offices, said that you was for the working man, that you was for small businesses. Do what you said you was going to do. You're going to be for the small business, because you're going to put a lot of record companies out of business. I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. Goode. Any questions from council?
I'd really like to ask a really hard question, but I don't have one.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goode. Next signed up to speak is Steve Mays. If you would give just your name and address.
Hey, Stephen Mays. The business is at 136 Iola here in Muskogee. It's Mays Wrecker. I think we need to go for the pay to play. You're looking at taking somewhere around between $20,000 and $30,000 away from my business if you take this to one company. And I employ 6 people here in town. We've been here since 1982 in business, and a $30,000 hit is going to be detrimental to the company. I'm all for helping the city make some money, and there's no problem with paying a $25 fee for an impound rotation or something like that. And there's 4 of us here that's all been in agreement with that. So if you could do something like that, I think we'd all get along and could get that done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. Any questions from council on this item? Thank you, Mr. Mays. Appreciate your comments tonight. With that concludes, there was no other signed up to speak on any non-agenda items. With that concludes the Public Works Committee meeting.
I forget what meeting we're in.
Yeah, I forget.
Special call meeting of the Muskogee City Council. We'll call to order with roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Item number 1, please.
Hold a hearing and take action on an appeal of a decision of the Uniform Building Code Appeals Board concerning a condemnation of property located at 1103 Gibson Street, Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Mr. Tucker, do I need to formally announce that we're in a public hearing?
I think Mike's got that. No, you don't. This is
Okay.
not a public hearing. This
Okay.
is just a hearing.
Okay,
Yeah, so-
Mr. Miller.
Yeah, so we're here today to consider an appeal from a finding on the Uniform Building Code Appeals Board for a structure located at 1103 Gibson. Said structure had become detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of the general public and the community, and as such should be condemned and torn down and removed. So today's hearing will be held as follows. Dan Hurd will present the position of the city, including the findings of the Uniform Building Code of Appeals. Mr. Black will have an opportunity to ask any questions of Mr. Hurd, and at the conclusion of the presentation, Mr. Black will be given an opportunity to present any testimony or evidence in support of his position. Then at the conclusion, the council will be afforded the opportunity to ask questions of either side, and the council will then vote to uphold, modify, or reverse the finding of the Uniform Building Code of Appeals. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Mr. Hurd.
Good evening, Mayor, Manager, and Council. As you can see, this is a dilapidated structure, and it is caving in. October 30, 2018, the Uniform Building Code Appeals Board met and ruled on the condemnation of the structure at 1103 Gibson. The board upheld the decision of the building official to proceed with the demolition. By code, the owner has the right to appeal to you as the council for that decision. The property was posted unsafe, unfit on October 26th of 2016, and the owner was notified of a hearing before the building official. The hearing was held in front of the building official on November 30th, 2016. The owner appeared at the hearing and signed an order from the building official to repair the structure. I'll get deeper into that and what was on that order on a further slide. The structure was condemned on April 6th of 2017 for failure to complete the repairs. A dilapidation lien was filed 4/11 of 2017. The owner contacted the inspections department following the condemnation and was offered the opportunity to post a bond and proceed with the repairs. The owner refused. A courtesy letter was sent advising the owner of the pending demolition on July 2 of 2018. We met with the owner on July 18 of 18 and agreed to stay the demolition for 90 days. That would have pushed it to the end of the current bid package that's being demolished, pending a sale. No sale occurred. October 30th, 2018, the owner was afforded a hearing in front of the Uniform Building Code Appeals Board. The board upheld the decision of the building official to proceed with the demolition. This is a copy of the order that the owner signed at the hearing that ultimately gave him 30 days to get a permit, 90 days after that to complete the work, for a total of 120 days. Failure to complete those repairs could end up in fines, condemnation, and/or demolition. That's the short version of what you see. And of course, I have several photos here of what is at that location. If you need to slow me down or stop me, please ask.
Okay, thank you.
Is this the front of is this the street view of the building?
Yes. This is directly across from Irving School on Gibson Street.
What's the other street there? Gibson and what?
K Street.
K?
Was this structure ever burned out to an extent, or just rotted away?
Rotten decay, from what I can tell. The Uniform Building Code Appeals Board upheld the building official's decision to proceed with demolition. Staff recommends proceeding with the demolition as approved by the Uniform Building Code Appeals Board. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I want to know if we've gone through the process legally of being certain that we are in a position to condemn, so that we don't face what we have faced in the past in terms of the number of lawsuits or having it overturned by some other body outside of this committee.
That is exactly why we're here today, to follow those procedures.
So have we done our due diligence legally, I guess?
Councilor Coleman, I can confirm that we have. Mr. Hurd and I met prior to the October hearing, and that's why it was designated that it needed to proceed in the manner that it did, in going before the Uniform Code, Building Code Appeals, and then ensuring that Mr. Black was notified that he did have the right to appeal to this body. One of the challenges that we'd had in the past was not holding a hearing, but instead making them requested on that first level of appeal with the Uniform Code of Appeals. And that one was held automatically rather than having Mr. Black request that hearing. And that was the sticking point on some of the prior cases that we've had. Now, any further hearing beyond that must be requested under state law by the applicant, and he has done that, which is what has brought us here today. So we are satisfied that we've complied with every requirement within state law, particularly Title 11, Section 22-112. And specifically, you may remember we've had some questions in the past as to whether we should follow the Uniform Property Maintenance Code, the what's the International Property Maintenance Code, or state law. And if you remember, we had one case where a judge decided that the state law provision provided better protections than the International Property Maintenance Code. So in handling this hearing, we took the most liberal positions out of both. So state law only provides 10 days to appeal. We gave 20. So we went above and beyond in ensuring that Mr. Black had the opportunity to bring his case in front of the council and for you all to ultimately make a finding on the condemnability of this property.
Thank you.
Yep.
I was just curious, is this a commercial or residential property?
It is zoned currently commercial.
And nobody living in the facility?
No.
Is there anything in there right now other than the building falling down?
I believe there is still some of his belongings there.
Because I knew at one time that building used to be like an upholstery shop or Big Ed's Upholstery or something like that.
Correct.
So,
Mr. Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yes, sir, you can.
I've seen this building like this a long time. And I myself personally, as a councilman, as a citizen here in Muskogee, Oklahoma, where I was talking about beautifying Muskogee, make it more beautiful. I get tired of people always try to play us up here. They get this 90-day deal where they're going to do so much on this building and this and that. And they don't. I've seen it time and time again, even before I became a counselor. When I sat out there in the audience listening to people come up here trying to play the council. You know, this building should have been tore down. And that's another thing. That 90 days, I think that 90 days should even be shorter. You get tired of driving around Muskogee, and especially it's right by a school. Got other buildings. I'm not going to get into that. Mr. Miller knows what I'm talking about. But when they're by a school, especially by a school, you don't want that. And you always want people to come here and live in our city, and to have their kids go to our schools, and they go to looking at this building right across the street. That's ridiculous. We as councilmen and mayors up here, we ought to think about this stuff more thoroughly. And I know you do a fine job, Mr. Herb. But like I say, I totally agree with the appeals board. Tear that mess down and get rid of it and clean this place up, along with other buildings here in Muskogee. That's my opinion. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Are there other comments or questions? If not, let's give Mr. Black the opportunity, which we said we would, to question Mr. Hurd, and then he then could make a presentation of his own materials. Mr. Black, just for clarification, give us your name and your street address, please.
My name's Ken Black, and the address we're talking about is 1103 Gibson Street here in Muskogee.
Talk into the microphone as best you can. You may even want to pull it over there a little bit toward you. There you go.
You hear me now? I agree with what Mr. Van said, and ever since I've lived in this community, I've worked hard to try to clean up unsightly areas. But I'm no match for hydraulics, for track hose, and equipment like that. I work most of these jobs myself due to finances. Now, I've approached the city about several buildings in areas like you say by a school. We got them by parks. We got them by walking trails that are junk that they belong to the city. And I asked the city, well, why has this been here more years than the place I bought that was already like this? Well, we don't have the money. Well, with all due respect, we the people don't have the money either. But what I've got here is proof that I've worked from before I bought this place to clean this place up, and I'm still working to this day. I can show, and I tried to show the appeals board, they wouldn't hear me. The chairman just run shotgun over all of it, and two of the members wanted to give me time to finish up what I was doing. No, he wasn't going to have it. Here's a trash service I had, and I didn't bring my phone, but I got pictures where there's trash up over top of the dumpster as much as was in the dumpster and around it. Mark Herringshaw will verify what I'm saying to you. Here's scrap tickets from since late 2015. Where I've taken what was out there, had any good to it, which there was a lot in there, and tried to salvage and use for money to work on the building, buy screws, buy nails, buy other things. Now, I agree the building looks terrible. I agree with you on that, and I'm going to change that, but I need the time to do that. I have shown proof that I have worked from day one. I can provide pictures if necessary. I have my scrap form here. I have trash service. There was never trash service here. Yes, he's right. That place looked like this for 35 years. I inherited this problem. I went in immediately and made it sanitary. There was material this high all the way around. Dan Hurd admitted by his own testimony. I didn't even know there was a concrete floor in there because I reported to him, sir, it's broom clean. That was the term we used in the military. You can see the floor now. I've worked, yes, I agree. What you see, but you got to look beneath the surface. You don't never judge a book by its cover fairly. And what I'm appealing to you is give me a chance to do what I'm trying to set out to do. I've shown progress. I have it on paper, and if you walk into the place, you can visually see it. Dan and I, we bounced off each other for some time now. When I was asked to come in, I came in. When I was asked to show me what you're doing, I showed proof. It wasn't enough a lot of times, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm disabled, but I got a vision. Just like the vision I had when I came to this town. Now, I've had a bunch of hiccups on the way. This city stormed in on me and cut my electric and water off. I lived 7 years without it because of city rules. I went through that, and I maintained. I'm still where I'm at, and I'm still making progress. Now, if this wouldn't set me back and keep me from doing what I'm focused on doing, nothing's going to stop me. 5 of those 7 years, the worst weather in Oklahoma history. Extreme cold and extreme hot. I dug a well, and I made my own power for 7 years, and there's record of that. I'm saying to you, give me a chance to clean this building up. I'm not going to keep all that garage space. Most of it's coming down. The office has been refortified with 4x4s. It's strong. The part that's bricked in around there, and that's what I plan to maintain. I like to have a little area to work off to the back. Yes, it's zone commercial, but I'm using it for my own self. I need a place out of the weather. I'm getting up in the years. My health's not good. I need a place out of the weather where I can make repairs. This was my vision for this place. If something builds from there, great. But for right now, I just want to get my house in order. And I need to speak with you ladies and gentlemen about this and see if I can get some help. I don't know. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Well,
You say it's not safe. I've got it cordoned off. You can't get up to it. There's signs on all corners. I got a guard that lives next door to make sure there's nothing going on there. I've not taken any chances on anything. Make sure that everybody's protection is paramount. I've been there during school hours when school lets out. Nobody walks through that place.
Did you say that you started your rehab in 2015?
16.
2016. How many weeks, months, or years do you estimate to get the place where it needs to be?
Initially, I had a little term of my own. I said, you know, it took 30 years to get it this way. I think in 30 months I can get it cleaned up and presentable. Now, I've listed on my appeals the storms that's hit me since then. I've been watching over the years. There's a wind turbulation there. Since they've changed the design of the school over there, school used to be 2-story. And we've lost several trees across there since then and suffered a lot of wind damage. I'm looking at just how things lay out so I can improve it. There won't be any nail construction this time. It's going to be screwed together because of the wind that's there. I'm not one to rush into something and throw a bunch of money into it because I don't have it. But if I improve and observe as I'm doing it, I got a more fortified structure. I'm solid in what I'm doing, and when I'm done, I don't have to go back and do it again. I know most people call contractors out and let somebody else do it. I'm in a position where I have experience in all this. I was an electrician before I was anything else. I'm a certified master technician now with over 40 years of experience. I was a carpenter. I can frame walls. I can take care of this myself. It just, you can only do so much in a day. And then the sun's down. It's gone. You lost that day. Then you lose days for holidays. You can't get parts that you need to make the job happen. You might be have full of will and want to do something. You can't get out and get the resources you need, so you got to wait till everything's back up again. Then you got weather conditions. It'll rain for a week in a row. I can't make any production in that, but I'm trying. I'm sitting there waiting for it to stop so I can get in there with a saw and cut it off or make whatever need complete. I don't have any electric there. I owned the place 3 months. They cut the electric off. The electric been on 30 years. I paid the bill in the same name it was in. Now, I don't know who was behind that, but that put a damper on things. So then I had to go to generate my own power to make the saws run. There's been a lot of setbacks, what I'm trying to say. No, I'm not trying to work the people of this community. So if you're thinking that, you're wrong. Tell you right now, I've not worked nobody. And I got proof, and Dan can attest, I tore down a 2,000 square foot house by hand. I told him I would do it. No, I could not meet the 120-day deadline because I'm no match for hydraulics. but I did get it tore down, and it's broom clean right now. It's not tore down with a bunch of rubble on the ground. There's no floor. There's nothing there but ground. And I'm saying to you, if I can have the chance to get this building where I want it, it'll all be good, because I don't like it no better than you do. I agree with what you're saying.
May I be recognized, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Black, I totally respect you, and I respect what you're doing. But myself personally, I just don't feel that you're going to be able to do this project. So as a city councilman sitting up here and looking out for our city, and looking out for also those students around that school, you can say you be there every day they go to school and this and that. I don't see that. And so I'm trying to protect those students that go to that school, plus make our city look better, so we can get better jobs here in Muskogee, Oklahoma. We need this. So, sir, for as me as a councilman, I don't know how the other councilmen think. I've seen it happen too many times. People tell us this and tell us that. You had enough time to get this fixed, and you haven't. So I think time has run out for you. That's my opinion, sir. And I totally respect you. And don't you think I don't respect you. I definitely do respect you. Thank you, sir. Turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Before we go any
Could
further,
I respond? I'm sorry.
before
Yes,
we
sir.
go any further, maybe Mr. Black would like to pass around the documents that he's brought for us to look at.
Would you like to do that, sir?
Yes.
Do you have some photographs as well of the progress that you've made?
Pulling out the truck to keep from interruption. I've got photographs of the dumpster heaped over and what I go out with. And also have Mark Herringshaw's direct number. You can call him.
No, what I was thinking, do you have something that shows your progress on the inside or the outside of the building? Okay. Mr. Hurd, do we have any pictures?
Before I found it, of how much material, like I said, you couldn't even see the floor.
Right, right. Mr. Hurd, do we have any photographs that document progress being made, substantial progress being made?
No, none exist to my knowledge.
Okay,
It still looks the same
Thank you.
today as it did when it was condemned in 2016.
okay.
Thank you.
As far as the structure itself, he has made inroads on cleaning out the building.
Just cleaning up the rubble inside the building? Okay, but in terms of shoring the roof up and the walls, the door that's collapsing and securing the building?
No, if you noticed on those photographs, those were taken on the 17th of October.
Okay.
Can we go back to that photograph, please?
This was the July 14th storm right here did this, that tore Kurt's Mall up. I took a direct hit that night. Back to me, I couldn't even get home. I ended up getting a ticket because I crossed the highway out on Shawnee. They had all the roads. I came over here, rushed over here to try to get things shored up. I was here for a couple hours. I went back out. They'd already closed everything off on York Street. Tried to go in behind Clinkenberry to get around. Couldn't get around except for going down Beacon Street. Got down there to Elite, and couldn't go right because they was closed off the top of the hill. All I had to do is shoot across the median and go left. Sure as I did, I got stopped at Kmart. But, you know, if something happens here, I'm here. I'm called immediately if something goes down. And I don't know what more as a human being I can do.
Mr. Black, is there anything, and I know and the comment was made, that this is taken October 17th of 2018. Do you have anything that would show us that progress has been made?
Only in the receipts that I sent, you can see.
Yeah, but I can't see in the receipts progress.
Well, what I'm trying to say to you is you'll see where I've come out of there, old refrigerators, old pool heaters. I'm talking about 200-pound items. I'm talking about old freezers. They use that one bay for nothing but a trash. They drink a Coke and throw it down on the ground. I mean, I took out bags and bags of plastic bottles and cans. It was an indoor landfill. There never was trash service here, ever.
Mr. Garvin, can you flip through the pictures again? I know we're being repetitive here, but. I guess I don't see anything that shows me any evidence that anything is happening, but these are all from the outside. I realize that.
Mayor, what I see is I don't see, I understand what he's saying about the items that he's getting thrown away, pulled out the building, but the issue at hand is the fallen structure.
Right.
And I don't see any hope, since, you know, as you're saying, since October the 17th, 2018, if we don't see that, it's, you know, we're due a snowstorm this weekend. The weather's not anything that's going to back up and ease up, so. But I see.
apologize for interrupting, sir, but you have to clean out before you can assess your damage. Because otherwise, you're just putting good money after bad. If you got walls that are this high covered in fabric, you can't see down to the bottom. First thing you do is you get the content out and then assess, are these studs good or are they rotten? This is what I'm going to have to clean out. I'm going to take this section out here. But I couldn't see it before when I bought it. And I was assured from the previous owner I wouldn't have any trouble. Because I told him, I said, as soon as I buy this place, the city's going to be all over me. Oh, no, I know the commissioners. His exact words. Everything will be all right. 3 months after I owned it, the lights went off. Never missed a payment. Got all the bills. I paid the bills in another guy's name. Continued paying them. I'm responsible. I've demonstrated responsibility. Yes, I go at things different than you all do. I'm going to talk to, the engine can blow some smoke, but I want a good seat that I'm sitting on. I'm looking at the interior out, and you all looking from the outside in, and that's where the disconnect is. I bought a roll today of orange construction fencing, and I got fence posts. I'll cover that area. I looked here, even though the IPMC is not applicable to me due to the dates, it says right on here clearly that demolition is to the option of the owner, not to the option of the city. And furthermore, there's more things.
Mr. Black, I got a question for you. I was looking at your receipts from Wheeler Metals, and I was looking on there. Did you remove the wiring from the building?
Some of it I did, yes.
So even if you had electricity, you probably couldn't use it because you don't have any wiring in there, correct?
No, I took the far wiring out in the third bay, and I'm moving back towards the office. I took the ceiling heater out, the large propane heater out. I'm trying to get all the weight off the ceiling. I'm trying to get everything where it's solid, because I know winter's coming up.
Because I was looking on there, and it looks like you was gutting the building, and you were selling all the wiring and the plumbing parts out that you could. But if you bought that and you were going to rebuild it or work on this, what did you use the money for? Did you buy a 2x4s? Did you do something with that money to benefit the building? Or what did you do with the money? There's roughly $500 that you got from the sale of the material inside the building.
Okay.
Did you use that to go in and put 2x4s in the building?
No, I didn't. I did use it to buy plywood, though, to secure walls that need to be secured.
Okay, you want these?
Have you installed that plywood?
I have not yet. And the reason being is due to weather. I want to make sure any wood product I use is covered so that there's not a rot factor that starts, because you pay quite a bit of a different price between treated wood and untreated wood.
How much plywood did you buy?
And this was untreated plywood. I got about 4 sheets of 4x8.
My recollection, I drive by there quite often, is this structure has been fallen in prior to that mini tornado that hit town. Another thing, and you appear to be a fine citizen to me, but since 2016, and I'm not in the best of shape and health either myself, but 52 weeks a year, 1 day a week, 1 day, 8 hours a day, that's 2 months. I can't imagine it taking 2 months to pick the trash up off the floor if it was stacked in soda cans 8 foot tall. It appears to me that there's no real serious effort, or has not been in the past, to clean this property up or out or anything. And a little bit of goodwill on a citizen's part helps various committees and folks that are in charge of rules and in charge of mandating what the city calls for. You can give them a little bit of string to hold on to, but unfortunately, city staff, they just don't have anything to hold on to. And if it seems like they unfairly rule against you, I just don't see that at all. This is not a good situation, certainly unsightly, but kids are kids, and you get some little 5th or 6th graders crawling in and out of there, and something falls down on them and hurts them. That'd just be terrible. And I got to tell you, as a 5th and 6th grader, this is the kind of stuff I ran through.
I didn't, and I have a hard time understanding it, but I appreciate what you're saying. We were a very disciplined, structured environment of individuals, and if it said no trespass or that wasn't yours, you didn't walk through somebody else's yard, and you sure didn't pick something up that didn't belong to you.
I agree with you 100%.
But that was in the days of discipline and respect, and I realize we've lost a lot of that.
Well, there's a lot of curious kids from the 1920s all the way up to the 2000s that, entered places they shouldn't just because they haven't learned responsibility or ethics or anything yet. They're just curious kids.
And that's why I thought it was important to have security on site, right next door. Any sound that's made, it's responded to immediately.
Let me ask another question. You had said you had barricaded or cordoned it off some way where you can't get into the building. Can you flip through these slides again, Gary? I don't see anything that tells me
I was speaking
there's
to
no
driveway. I
trespassing.
apologize for not, yes, there's a
Beg your
sign.
pardon?
There's a sign right there above the brick to the right of the door, no trespass. And
I
the
don't see any
driveway-
signage in there, or I don't see any yellow tape or anything that tells me not to go be a part of that, those curious kids you're talking about. How would they know not to be involved and get in that building?
The driveway is blocked off where you cannot drive up in there.
Sir, it looks to me like you can walk right up to the building. I don't see anything that blocks the driveway.
The picture is too far forward. You'll see, if the picture was backed out, you'd see, and it's been closed since 2016.
It won't stop the kids from walking up there. I was by there today. That boat's been out there probably for 10 years or so. It's not a safe structure. I went over there because in our packet, that's the one thing I do. If it's in a packet, I go by and look at the house. I promised the people I would do that before I voted on things, and that's what I do. I wish that there was a way that I could do something different for you, but it's not a safe structure, sir. I'm sorry.
My concern with it, I do a lot of facility work, and I work with a lot of great guys all the time, but when you're looking at a structure like that, it's definitely unsafe. And there's portions of it that's unsafe, and I appreciate your dedication to doing it, but when you're looking at doing it yourself, this is a massive undertaking, and it's a roofing structure.
But have you seen what I've already taken down? It was massive also.
I understand.
And I know how to demolish. I've been demolishing places since I was 16 years old. I know about demolishing places safely. I know how to do it, and I've proven what I'm saying to be accurate. It's not just something I'm reaching up and grabbing straws. The problem is timing. And I'll even go back to the own writing, of your own writing. It says on here, it says the first thing you do is to repair and make safe and sanitary. Well, that's what I made sanitary. I cordoned off the driveway where you can't drive up in there and look around. It looks like I put signage up. Okay, next thing he says, or to board up and hold for future repair. Okay, I have offered that in my truck right now, I've got a roll of that orange construction fencing, and I got 3 fence posts back there. I'm going to put them up across the front and hold that. That'll be blocked up, boarded up. And if you want me to, I'll stud a wall up there. I'll do whatever you want me to do right away that I can do financially.
Challenge is with working with, with everything that's in the neighborhood and with insurance companies would call this an attractive nuisance. And what I mean by that, it just like Councilor Kale called, it's just a place for somebody to go play. And it is, and it's something that's going to happen in our community. And we need to do something about it pretty quickly, and it's been sitting there for quite a while. By that, I would like to make a motion to uphold the findings of the property at 1103 Gibson Street. It's a distraction to the health and safety and welfare of the general public and the community, thereby affirming the decision of the Uniform Building Code Appeals Board, as well as setting a demolition within the next 30 days, giving you, Mr. Black, enough time to get your personal belongings out of there. I'm sure you've got tools and other things that you need to get out of there. I think next 10 days, give you enough time to get those personal belongings out of there. That would be my motion.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Mr. Tucker, is there anything about that motion that would cause any concern?
No. We've affirmed the decision. The motion would affirm the decision of the Uniform Building Code Appeals, makes a finding that it is detrimental to the general public, and sets a demolition date, and also gives Mr. Black 10 days to remove any personal belongings out. So all the elements are contained within that motion.
Okay. Is there a comment or question regarding that motion?
Yes, I have one more question. One more comment.
Okay.
Mr. Black, if you look at that picture right there, one thing you're going to have to do before they come in there and tear it down, you see that boat? That's not within city code. That boat, you see where it's sitting?
It's sitting on a solid surface.
Boat look like to me it's sitting on grass.
That's what it looks like to you, and that's why I said to you earlier, sir, don't judge a book by its cover. They've already come up there and taken a look, and they go, oh, yeah, it is solid, isn't it?
Looks to me like it's sitting on grass, but if you say it's on solid surface, sir,
And it is.
and it is, But I would just, in case it's not, I just want you to know you're going to have to move that boat.
I'm trying my best to conform.
Does council have any other question or comment to make?
Sir?
Yes,
I
sir.
have a question. Can I get my receipts back, please?
You sure can. Does council have any other comment or question?
There's some more.
Here's some more.
Mr. Tucker, the only question I have is about the attachment that we have that's handwritten that says application of appeal. Is that customary that they have to handwrite the entire application, or is there an application that we provide?
We don't have an application. It just, the statute just says provide notice of appeal of your intent to appeal to the city council. So any format would work: email, letter, handwritten. And so he's complied with that. Is what I'm getting at.
Okay. Any other comment or question? Mr. Black, do you have anything else to tell us regarding the building? Any other information you'd like us to have?
I sure would like to have the chance to repair this, because I could have done it.
Okay.
And as an American, as a veteran, and as a member of this community, a property owner, I should be able to have due process afforded to me. And like I said, even though the IPMC is not applicable to me because I'm in under grandfather laws, it says on there very clearly that if the place has been abandoned or neglected for 2 years, then the city has the right to come in on it. I've proven to everybody it's not been neglected and it's not been abandoned from day one. I'm doing the best I can, and I was hoping that I might be able to get y'all's help in furthering my endeavor. I'm sorry that we wasn't able to reach a...
Well, Mr. Black, I'm going to wish you well, and more importantly, I'm going to thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question or comment?
Thank you for coming up here, Mr. Black.
Take care. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, sir. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Hale,
Yes.
Marlon Coleman,
Yes.
Wayne Johnson,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Derek Reed,
Yes.
Dan Hall,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. That concludes the meeting that we had and the hearing that we were having. Thank you.